This is Grow Omaha Uncut, where you can watch our radio show, including what goes on in the commercial breaks. And be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. Well, good morning and welcome to the show. Jeff Beals here at your service from NAI NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate Company. We're also brought to you by D&M Roofing, Omaha's premier commercial and residential roofing contractor. Without any further ado, it's time to introduce my co-host, a man who is fresh off doing a bunch of real estate deals that we'll tell you about here later, Trenton Magid.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, Jeff.
Well, Trenton, we've got some breaking news to start the show today. And, some of the listeners have said, hey, for the last couple months, you said we're getting close to announcing a big tenant at Nebraska Crossing. Today is that day.
Thanks for being patient, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, we finally get to announce what we have been excited to tell you about, and that is REI, which stands for Recreational Equipment, Inc., is going to Nebraska Crossing. REI is out of the state of Washington, and they are a retailer that sells outdoor recreation services, travel goods, sporting goods, camping gear. Very desirable store. They'd been looking at Omaha for a long time. And so here's the deal. They're going to open up a 25,000 square foot store. It'll be on the east side of Nebraska Crossing. It will be a kind of a freestanding building. If you can picture Nebraska Crossing, there's an Under Armour store, and this will be in the parking lot right east of that. So Under Armour will be to the west of the new REI building, and then Home Goods and TJ Maxx will be off to the east. And the opening date is this summer. Construction is going to start immediately. I talked to Rod Yates this morning, who is the developer and owner of Nebraska Crossing, and he said, we're going to get this construction going fast. And when Rod says construction's going fast, construction goes fast, because they don't waste any time in Nebraska Crossing when they get new projects underway.
And this is an epic story. I have a brother who's an avid hiker and camper, and he's been waiting for this to come to Omaha for a long, long time. And it's very specialized, and it'll blow what was Canfield's out of the water.
Yeah, it'll be fun to go there. And now this will be their only store in the state of Nebraska. And we've noticed a pattern lately that when a lot of national retailers decide we're only going to have one store in the state of Nebraska, a lot of them are going to Nebraska Crossing now. And it makes sense because they want to be along Interstate 80. It's in suburban Omaha. It's very accessible to the Lincoln market. And you have a lot of just natural transient traffic going through I-80 every day. So you're starting to see more of those only one in the state stores going to a place like Gretna.
And I think you'll see other national retailers see that REI is coming and want to be there as well. I know Rod's working on some other very specialized type stores that we have not seen yet in Nebraska.
And to keep our habit of teasing retailers going, when I talked to Rod today, he said, oh yeah, I'm working on a couple big ones right now, so we can't say those yet. But we want to keep you, not just keep you on the hook with these retail announcements, because there are some big ones coming. We want you to be excited about them. But REI coming to Nebraska Crossing. Well, let's go into some more news. And our news of the week is brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, EagleMortgageCompany.com. They know mortgages like nobody knows mortgages. And right now, things in January kind of slow down a little bit. People are kind of thinking, I need to rest a little bit from the holidays. I'm worn out. I'm exhausted. I need to get into a routine. Now is actually a good time to talk to Eagle Mortgage, because if you're thinking about, let's say February or March, I'm going to start looking for houses, get your pre-approval letter now when things aren't quite as crazy and busy. Get your ducks in a row, get squared away. The staff at Eagle Mortgage will help you do that. They're very customer-focused, customer-centric. And you can stop in their office at 114th and Davenport, or just go online, EagleMortgageCompany.com, and they'll take care of you regardless of whether you're a conventional FHA or VA loan. EagleMortgageCompany.com. Well, Trenton, let's start off with one of your deals as our first story this week. Big industrial building sold in the Interstate 80 corridor.
Yeah, this was a fun one and a sizable one. Nancy Lazar in our office and I represented Omaha Bedding Company, a company that started in 1895, had a heck of a run. Scott Vietzer ran it along with his family, and 150,000 square foot. It was in three different sections. They grew it over time. They did a ton of business with the Nebraska Furniture Mart, and the day mattresses for Four Seasons hotels, a lot of big, elegant hotels and famous people, and they ran a great business, and everything has its time. And so congratulations. Brian Hartman represented the buyer, a private group in Omaha that is putting a couple tenants in the building, and it's a big chunk of industrial space. It's the building right at 60th Street, and there's a big, it looks almost like an anvil, but it's a they call it a cyclone, and in the day it used to spin the cotton and clean the cotton for the mattresses.
Yeah, it's like a black conical structure on top of the roof.
I hope it stays in the building because it is iconic, and people kind of know it as a reference point. And congratulations to everyone involved in that transaction. And it just shows you that industrial space is still very much hot right now.
This Monday is the 10th of January, and that's an important date for Grow Omaha and all Grow Omaha listeners because it's our anniversary.
Yeah, happy anniversary, Jeff. Happy anniversary for everybody that started with us January 10th, 2004. That's 6,573 days ago, 939 weeks ago. Jeff and I started this adventure, and many of you were there with us from the start, and those that joined along the way, we appreciate it. It's been a fun ride, and we hope to continue well into the future.
Yeah, we've never discriminated against people that haven't been with us for all 18 years. So if you've just come on lately, we love you just as much as the old timers.
But the show's really developed over the time. And at the time, we started on a smaller station, and now we're on the blowtorch, the KFAB 1110. And 50,000 watts.
Well, yeah, we've been on the blowtorch since 2006. So the vast majority of those 18 years have been over here on the blowtorch. So, Trenton, we want to give a little bit of national real estate news each week. Our friends from CoStar, a real estate data and information company, are kind enough to provide this information to us each week. And we got some info on the national housing market. Basically, the national housing market shows no signs of retreat in 2022. Demand continues apace, especially in cities in the Mountain West and the Southeast, but Omaha is holding its own too. Places where population growth has been particularly strong obviously are seeing more price growth, but get this, the median price for existing homes grew by 13.9% year over year in November. That's according to the National Association of Realtors. And the Case-Shiller Home Price Index, whatever that is, grew by 19.1% from October 2020 to October 21st. And so that could lead some people to ask, okay, well, what about here? So I pulled NP Dodge's recent housing data. This is as of November 30th, so a little over a month ago. And the median sale price for new homes and new construction in the Omaha area increased 8.7% to, are you ready for this? Almost more than $401,000 for new construction.
Wow, new construction. Okay.
Yeah, and then existing homes, pre-enjoyed homes, if you want to call them, used homes, if you want to call them, used houses, they increased 8% here in Omaha to $243,000 on average. Median. So big growth in the housing market.
That people that are selling their homes want to use, at 19%.
I guess. Well, our friends at Nebraska Furniture Mart, proud Omaha-based company, they're going to be expanding Trenton and building a mega store in the Austin, Texas metropolitan area.
That's pretty impressive. They just announced in December, it's not as big as the $1.5 billion mixed-use development, which is anchored by NFM in the Colonies, Texas, outside of Dallas. This is in the Austin area. It's $400 million, about 118 acres, $400 million project. They'll have room for maybe 130,000 feet of other retailers, but they'll have a 500,000 square foot store. They'll have a 700,000 square foot warehouse, and they're going to duplicate a lot of what they do really well in the Austin area. And, it's been 10 or 11 years in Dallas already.
That's hard to believe.
Yeah, it's gone really fast.
Well, in addition to the massive Nebraska Virtual Mart NFM store in the suburban Austin, Texas area, and that extra retail you talked about, there will also be a hotel and a convention center. So in addition to the Omaha location, the Dallas location, they're also in Kansas City and Des Moines, Iowa. So yeah, they're really growing substantially. I imagine a lot of consumers in Austin will be pretty excited to have NFM.
Absolutely, and they've got the weight of Berkshire Hathaway, their parent company, behind them.
So Omaha received a favorable ranking in Wallet Hub's list of 2022's best and worst cities for an active lifestyle. Number 26 among the nation's 100 largest cities. So like all of these studies, they look at a whole bunch of different criteria like bicycle environment, fitness club fees, share of physically inactive adults, and many, many more, about 30 more. And so, like I said, Omaha, number 26 on the list of 100 largest cities. Other cities in our area, Denver was number 9, Madison, Wisconsin, number 12, Minneapolis, 13. But Omaha came in ahead of Lincoln, which is 47, Kansas City, which is 73. So you may be wondering, where are the cities that are best for an active lifestyle? There are a lot of big cities. San Francisco, number 1, Chicago, 2, New York, 3, San Diego, 4, and Honolulu, number 5.
We have room for improvement, but we're getting up there.
All right, so where are the big fatties, right? The people who have the unathletic, inactive lifestyle. All right, the bottom 5, starting from last place and going backwards. Number 100, North Las Vegas, Nevada. Have you seen the number of Golden Corrals in that town? All right.
Is that because they're all on those scooters that they don't need to be?
I have no idea. And I had no idea that North Las Vegas had become so big as to be one of the 100 largest cities in the United States of America.
I wonder if they have billboards up there.
Number 99, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Number 98, Wichita, Kansas. Number 97, Fort Wayne, Indiana. And what would that be? Number 95 or 96 or something like that. Irving, Texas.
Interesting.
So don't live there if you want an active lifestyle. So kudos for Omaha for showing up pretty well there. So do you remember, Trenton, that old Travel Inn that was at 39th and Dodge?
Oh, and the Saigon restaurant was on the main floor?
Oh, yeah. For a long time, that property was a scourge on the Omaha landscape.
Rooms by the hour?
And so the building was torn down many, many, many years ago, and it's been nothing but a vacant lot, frankly an eyesore in my opinion, although not as big of an eyesore as the old Travel Hotel was.
Yeah, that was a mess.
That was a mess.
That was a lot of controversy.
I can remember many, many years ago, I worked in a building that was within a couple blocks of that place. And one day we discovered some bullet holes in a window. They went through the window and then into a soffit of a part of the ceiling that hung down in front of the window. And we kind of, did the whole thing where you traced the ballistics. I put a long thing from the soffit through the window hole, and it pointed right at the 3rd floor of that Travel Inn. So we're like, oh, shocker. Anyway, local developer plans to turn that into a 4-story apartment building. It's got a ways to go. They just kind of talked to the neighbors recently. I think they still have to go through planning, but nice 4-story apartment building there, taking advantage of orbit. There's been a lot of that TOD, transit-oriented development. Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I was hoping would eventually happen on that lot someday.
Yeah, it needs to be done.
And then I guess finally, MECA, Metropolitan Entertainment and Convention Authority, released a newsletter within the last week. And actually, we have 2 more stories besides this one. They released a newsletter in the last week that kind of talked about some progress with the 3 riverfront parks. And one of the things they talked about is the skate ribbon that will be part of Heartland America Park is coming along, and some interesting little tidbits about that. In the summer, it'll be a roller skating rink.
Concrete.
In the winter, it'll be an ice skating rink. But they are installing this new technology that will allow the ice to appear much earlier in the season and stay much later in the spring than you would think. So the goal is to have the ice go from late October to maybe like a March or something like that. Normally, you only have ice skating rinks outside around here in Christmas or January because, and by the time you get to February, we start having some of those 45, 50-degree days. Of course, a 0 degree day mixed in there. But it'll be able to stay ice for maybe like 4 or 5 months instead of maybe just 2 months.
Well, then out at 88 Tactical, they announced they're having a artificial surface where you can ice skate year round. Is vinyl or something?
Yeah, like a glass or something.
Yeah, I don't know what they use, but it's a technology where you can. I think it's real ice skates as well.
Cool stuff. Well, one last story. Construction bids are due January 21st for the 6-story Hampton Inn planned on the southwest corner of 44th and Douglas. That's in that whole Med Center area that's just blowing up and will continue to be blowing up with development. 96 rooms, 115,000 square feet, same owner as the adjacent Home 2 Suites by Hilton. So we should see some activity on that not too far in the future.
Hotels are still going strong, and now after the pandemic, they see that they can make it back.
I suppose if they survived that, they figure they can survive just about anything. And that's your news of the week, ladies and gentlemen, brought to you by Eagle Mortgage, eaglemortgagecompany.com. Check them out. Get that pre-approval letter now if you're thinking about entering the house searching game this spring. All right, when we come back, we're going to bring on our friend Rick Bettger. He is the owner of Omaha Car Care. We're going to do a business feature on Omaha Car Care. We're also going to talk to Rick a little bit about downtown living. He and his wife live downtown, and we're going to talk about downtown living options. It's going to be an interesting conversation. Stay with us. You're listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and NAI NP Dodge on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Hi, this is Eric.
All right. So we'll start with the company talk and all that, and then you'll want to be pretty much right up on the mic.
Everything's recorded, by the way. So figure it out. Okay, so yesterday
We've had some close calls.
there was a
Lawyers have been involved.
there was a
Called.
there was a meeting with Cindy Axney.
Oh, the
of
congressperson?
Yeah,
Oh.
of Southwest Iowa mayors, and Matt Walsh from Council Bluffs was talking, and he said, "I know Omaha is about to announce a rapid transit project involving Farnham Street, and they were talking about how they're going to use some of this money, this federal money, and he said something with Farnham Street involved, and I think what he was talking about, and she was pretty receptive to, was something that would link Council Bluffs with Omaha in the rapid transit area. I kind of perked up when I heard that.
Yeah.
I hadn't really heard anything about that. And the fact, I think it was Channel 7, but it could have been 6. I can't remember now because I watched both. They spent a lot of time, with the exchange on it. So they sensed there was something coming. And they mentioned nothing had been announced yet.
Maybe the 480 bridge then?
Yeah, like,
Or that'd be more Douglas.
Or do they build?
Or they build something.
a transit-oriented bridge because
Yeah.
the interstate one wouldn't be conducive unless you added a thing to the side.
Well, that would have probably been something they would have wanted to have already in the plans now. So
It's
they're doing
obviously a
the whole
bus
big-
or
but then what do you attach?
Now,
it?
normally when you think rapid transit, I think what he probably, he's probably a little off. It's probably going to be a streetcar because I don't.
And
rapid
that's
transit would be
possibility.
too fast for that corridor.
Right, because
rapid transit is either underground or commuter rail that
Four-lane
takes you to the
highway.
suburb. Yeah.
Right.
So it would probably be more like
he may have used, but it could be
streetcar. Yeah.
a streetcar type thing. Because he was using the argument, they're spending a couple $1 billion at the Med Center, and that would be a natural link and get Council Bluffs new living units and attract people.
build a new
to
bridge.
Council Bluffs.
I don't see how you could use the Interstate 40 bridge unless you put something on the side of it, which would require driving more piles.
So we're not just talking about a bus or one of those accordion buses or something.
Well, Farnham Street has been what they've been targeting the streetcar for.
Right.
Yeah. And what he probably meant when he used the term rapid transit
They didn't
was rail.
when
But rapid transit, you don't do rapid transit above ground in an urban area. It's either underground or it goes in its own dedicated track out to the
You have our own
suburbs,
tunnel.
to Lincoln or to something like that.
all right, we're coming back, but guys, we may not have a re-enter here, so be ready to go.
Okay. Who needs a stinking reentry?
Okay.
Wondering what the future
Let's
of
do this. Take it cold. I wonder if something outdated. I'm gonna have to go back in.
So I just go after as soon as
Okay,
Gary's
just do it.
All right, Grow Omaha back on the air, brought to you by DNM Roofing and NAI NP Dodge Commercial Real Estate. Jeff Beals, Trenton Magid here, and we're going to bring on our friend Rick Bettger. Rick is the owner of Omaha Car Care, multiple locations throughout the Omaha area, and a community leader, both in the business world and the non-business world. Rick, it's good to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me, guys. Good to see you.
Yeah, well, first of all, thank you for being one of our newsletter sponsors. Omaha Car Care sponsors the snippets section of our newsletter where we put lots of Omaha growth and development briefs on the newsletter that comes out every Thursday. So we love having you part of our team.
Well, I love being on it. It's a great audience for us. People who are engaged and want to know what's going on in Omaha. I mean, that's kind of our customer.
Mm-hmm. Well, tell us a little bit about Omaha Car Care, kind of the background and the 30,000-foot view.
The quick story of the history of Omaha Car Care, which your producer has lived through most of it, I think, Roger Olson. It started as House Mufflers in 1970 by my dad and his partner, Gene Moberg. And they opened up one muffler shop on 84th and L. They opened up 3 more muffler shops in various parts of the community. And then in the 80s, they kind of split ways. They each took 2 stores, very amicable split, but they wanted to do different things. Gene Moberg opened up a couple more House Muffler stores. My dad opened up 1 more. And then about 20 years ago, I purchased the House Muffler stores that my dad owned. And my good friend Jeff Moberg, after his father passed away, has the other House Muffler stores. So we kind of went on that merry path for many years, the two of us, 2 separate companies, but using the same name. And there were 7 locations of House Mufflers and Brakes here in Omaha. And about, I think we're coming up on 6 years ago now, I decided to rebrand my stores. Jeff's stores continue to be House of Mufflers and Brakes, and I rebranded mine to Omaha Car Care. And so my 3 stores became that in March of 2016. And then we opened up a 4th location just about a year ago on 144th and Harrison. So we have 4 Omaha Car Cares now in the city.
And the Omaha Car Care, everything mechanical.
We do a complete auto maintenance and service repair.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was kind of the sticking point. With that name, our guys did a great job of informing our customers that we could do their check engine lights and suspension problems and all of that. But it got to be to the point where if there were new customers coming in or people who were younger who were just entering the market and they saw that name and their check engine light came on, they probably weren't going to call us because they thought that that's all we did was mufflers and brakes. So that's when we decided that we should kind of broaden take away that barrier in people's minds. So now we do everything. I mean, we have done everything, but now we aren't limiting ourselves with that name.
Our office at NAI NP Dodge is not terribly far from your West Dodge location.
Right across the street.
Pretty much right across the street. So I've noticed a lot of loaner cars with Omaha Car Care on them. Mm-hmm. And they're nicer loaner cars than a lot of shops will provide their customers.
Yeah, when we rebranded, that was one of the things that we kind of had this idea. Who do we want to serve? What's our customer going to look like? Because we had a chance to, when you rebrand, you have a chance to kind of pick out your customers, sort of. And we decided that we wanted people who maybe are used to going to the dealer, and they're used to that kind of service where they would go to the dealer and get a loaner car. And that's really our competition, we think, is is that mindset that people have to go back to the dealer. We're built on the idea of relationships and saving you time. And so having those loaner cars, which we have a fleet of 12 now between the 4 stores, is really something that our customers appreciate because they are more concerned about their time than they are anything else. I mean, they don't want to sit in a waiting room. They don't want to have their friends come and pick them up. So you can call or go online and reserve a loaner car when you make an appointment with us.
I want to ask you one more question before we go to break, and then we're going to have you stay on during the news because we're going to talk to you about a different subject,
Right.
downtown living, in the next segment. But we're talking with Rick Bettger, owner of Omaha Car Care. And Rick, we're hearing a lot of retail businesses and service businesses talk about how difficult it is to get staffing. What about in the auto repair and maintenance world? Is it tough there too?
It's always been that way, Jeffrey. This isn't any different than any other time. In fact, we've stayed very stable over the last 2 years. Well, we're always very stable, but it's like a lot of trades. I mean, it's hard to find people who
Skilled labor.
that want to do trades, and it is a trade. It is something you need to go to school for, and you can't just walk in off the street and start fixing cars. So we are so fortunate to have many longtime guys who have kept up on their training, who can do a broad variety of work on cars, but it's always difficult to find people.
A constant battle.
Ask any dealer too. It's just always hard.
Well, that voice is Rick Bettger from Omaha Car Care. We're going to take our middle of the show break for the news. And then when we come back, we're going to talk about downtown living with Rick. He lives down there, has a condo down there. So we thought, with all the development and downtown living and urban living, that's an appropriate topic for right now. Stay with us. You're listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and NAI NP Dodge on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Is Omaha Trade Schools? Are we is it Metro or who's
Metro, yeah.
Educated.
Metro just opened a new facility, actually.
yeah in North
And
Campus?
like a lot of the dealers, like Mickey's very involved in that, and because they literally are just pulling people who come off that out of that classroom essentially, and it's like, okay, you got a job right here.
They got the
Mickey's,
bus there ready to drive you to their shop. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so for us, we need somebody more experienced than those guys are, just because we do, like in my stores, I'll have 3 or 4 techs per store, and that's it. I have as many counter people as I do techs.
Oh, really?
But so the techs we have are incredible, and they can get done fast, and they've been with us for, some of them for 30 years. But for us, we're more focused on how we execute on that relationship at the counter.
Mm-hmm.
The guys in the back are so good, I don't have to worry about it.
Really?
Yeah. So
That's a
it's
good
always
spot.
about how do you treat the people that come in the store. And the loaner cars are part of that, but it's also, I think like Roger's relationship with Joel is a perfect example. It's just long-term, focusing on how do we make sure this customer comes back all the time.
Do you have to use a car rental agency, or you own the cars, or
We own the cars. And all you have to do is sign a
waiver?
You just sign a waiver that says I have full coverage on my own vehicle.
Yeah.
Sometimes it pops back
Our
up.
insurance agent.
Whoop,
says
whoop.
what you have to do. Just kind of nice.
I was talking to my friend Arun Agrawal on the phone yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
He knew your name somehow.
Yeah, Arun and I are in the
EO.
EO group.
Oh, you're in the same EO forum?
We're not in the same forum.
Oh.
We're just both in EO.
There's a lot of people in that just for.
Yeah. Yeah.
You do a lot of the trips.
I haven't done them lately. We used to years ago. I've been in now for almost 15 years.
It's been worth
I'm
it.
like an old man in there now.
Is there,
So I am like an old
do you
man.
age out of it?
You don't have to, no.
It's not like YPO.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not in that regard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, but like my forum, there's three of us that have been in it ever since I've started it, and then
You started your forum?
I didn't start it.
Look at that. What are you doing here on a Saturday?
Look what the cat drug in.
Brother Bettger.
What's up, Gare?
Morning.
How you doing?
TV or something.
Yeah, you
That's a
are.
long drive.
It's Omaha.
Is that a long drive just to come see me? Is that it?
Horribly long. From Elkhorn, yeah.
We'll have a trivia question on next week. Who was our special guest that came in during the break?
During Omaha Uncut. Yeah.
Well, good to see you, Rick.
You too, Gare. Good. It's
to
really
see you.
good. Yeah. Apparently your voice is still working for us. So
Excellent.
yes.
Excellent.
Still bringing the customers in.
I need to get over there again.
Well, yeah, we were talking about that.
I need to come for an oil change. Yeah, I'm about due.
Looks like everything's under control here, so.
More or less. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Good to see you, Gary.
Good to see you, Rick.
Still on for barbecue this
Yeah,
week?
Tuesday.
Okay. All right, Trent, you can join us if you want.
Right.
Tuesday, let me look at it.
All right.
Tire Texan Tuesday.
11:30.
It's out of the zone.
Tire Texan.
I might make an exception.
You went high on me.
I know.
You might actually show up.
Huh?
You might actually come.
Yeah.
Well,
Like I have a lot to do.
you'll check your calendar.
Check your calendar.
Let me check my calendar.
By the way, that bed that wasn't there in the last break,
Oh, yeah.
you know, the re-entry, it was what I expected. End of the year.
Oh, it expired.
It just, I fixed it.
So bumper music has an expiration like milk?
I don't know why they had one for this year.
Re-up on that.
Yeah. This bumper music is no
Quick,
good.
sign this
Yeah,
license.
that's their bumper music that you sniff and go.
Whoa, don't drink that. I'll kill you.
Well, what I'm saying is you'll have bumper music from now on.
Thank you.
This
Yeah.
is a one-time deal.
I'm glad you bought us a New Year's worth.
What is the bumper music?
It's something you guys did.
We had
you
it
start
created.
that over there?
Yeah,
Or
we
you
had
created?
it. Yeah, we had it created when we were on
Oh, you
K-Car.
did?
Yeah.
Oh, like in your own theme.
Yeah, it was a fellow by the name of Frank Pietrantoni. Tough name to say, Pietrantoni. Great guy, and he would do musical stuff on the side. And we asked him, and he created a bump for the beginning, the intro, the outro to commercials, the intro from commercials, and the outro for the show. We had four different versions.
Different ones.
Yeah.
We don't still use those, do we?
Still
I mean,
on?
I know the one that goes.
Do, 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 do. Boop.
Is that the entry?
Yeah,
Didn't we
that's
have all the
I don't
horns
know
and
the
the
other one.
Yeah,
rapping?
they have horns in them. And then, we stopped using the outros going to commercial.
Yeah.
Because we want to just get quicker out because we've loaded the show up so much. But the outro at the end of the show is still the same one. Bump. The outro is bump, bump, ba-na.
Boom, boom.
That's the Rush
It's a
Limbaugh.
little more
You
subtle.
guys are really good.
Yeah, but anyway, we've been using the same bumper music for 18 years.
Hey,
Come
if it
Monday.
works.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wondered why you never changed, but I figured you paid for it. Might as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think he gave us a really good deal too.
probably.
Yeah.
He was probably going, man, I wouldn't have sold it to him for that if I knew they were going to use it for 18 years.
What did Mitch used to do for us?
He did the original website,
Okay.
and what was the original website? Was there some other stuff that he did for us? Yeah.
Where's he live now?
Gretna.
Oh, he's here?
Yeah. I'm in a breakfast club with him about once every 2 or 3 months. It's Mitch Arnold, Ed Burns, who was with AOI Construction for a long time, just retired, I think, last month maybe. He was former Husker quarterback.
I was gonna say, is it that Ed Burns?
Yeah, and me, the three of us. This goes back 20 years. It was about the time when we met Mitch. So it goes back about 18 years.
30.
And for some reason, there was one time where the three of us went to breakfast at Vidlax, and Mitch is in charge of it. About 4 to 6 times a year, the three of us go to breakfast at Vidlax. Yeah, it's been going on for a long time.
That's good.
Ed
Burns,
That's
okay.
cool.
Yeah, tall guy. You can tell he was a former NFL quarterback, so very long. When you shake your hand, you're like, oh yeah, you could grip that football pretty easily.
Yeah. You played for the Saints, I remember.
Yeah, 3 years behind Archie Manning. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
All right, here we go.
Monday at 5:35 to discuss only on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
And we're back. Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and NAI NP Dodge. And real quick, we have the Real Estate Development Spotlight brought to you by Noddle Companies. Noddle Companies is an Omaha-based development firm doing all sorts of real estate projects here in the metro area, as well as other states as well. And one of the big Noddle projects underway right now is Steel Ridge. This is the development on the east side of the Interstate 80, Highway 370 exit in the Papillion area. And the H&H Chevrolet car dealership there has gone vertical. And I was just out there yesterday. Looks great. It's going to be a big building with quite a presence on nearby Interstate 80. Also, Trenton, at a different Noddle Companies development, one you may have heard of, known as Exarban Village. Last night, my wife Stephanie and I stopped by the new Saffron restaurant, and we only had cocktails because we had dinner reservations later for somewhere else, but we wanted just to go see what it was like. Great cocktails, beautiful bar, thoroughly enjoyed being
We
there.
beat you there. We had dinner there a week ago.
How was it?
It was excellent. I thought it was really nice.
I can't wait to go. I love Indian food and can't wait to try that. So that is your Noddle Companies Real Estate Development Spotlight for the week. If you want to learn more about Noddle Companies, just go to noddlecompanies.com, but it is an Omaha-based full-service real estate development company, noddlecompanies.com. All right, we have Rick Bettger with us. Rick is the owner of Omaha Car Care, one of our sponsors of the Grow Omaha newsletter, but we wanted to ask Rick a few questions while we had him here about downtown living. Rick, your wife and you have been condo owners downtown for a while.
Right. We moved. If you could pick a worse day to move, you couldn't. We moved on March 17th last year.
Wow.
And the world, like, people couldn't even help us move because everyone was living in fear.
Terrified of dying on the
Terrified of
spot.
dying.
If not,
Yeah.
they're drinking.
Which was very convenient for people to not help us. Oh my
Yeah.
But yeah, we moved last year and 2 years ago, and it was pretty rough actually at the beginning because we've lived down the street here for 25 years in Memorial Park, in a nice big house, and so the adapting to the new environs was pretty tough because no one could go out. No one could come out. We didn't have a yard anymore that she could go out and visit with the neighbors, and so it was kind of a tough go at the first.
So when you're planning this, you're empty nesters, I assume.
Yes.
And you lived not suburbia, but Memorial Park area.
Right.
You had your yard, a freestanding house, and you would go to restaurants in the old market and the convention center, arena. You do all these things. How do you prepare and how do you psych yourself up, say, hey, we want to be part of this active lifestyle and become a condo dweller as opposed to living in a freestanding house?
I think so much of it is finally, the maintenance on a house like that wears on you after so many years. There's a lot of raking. We lived in a 90-year-old
Leaf
house.
bag stuffing.
40 bags of leaves every time. That gets old. But I think it has to do with how you're going to live your life in the future too. And what we've decided is we want to be downtown. We like that lifestyle. And so the thing was, if you're going to live downtown, how are you going to live? So we really love that location that we're at. We're on 10th and Dodge. We did not want to live in the old market. It's a little loud down there. We go to Creighton games, and we literally live across the street from CHI Center. We go to the Holland, and that's literally across the street from our place. So we kind of held out to see if something would come up in that particular building that we found. And something did, and we were lucky enough to get on it and get it. We weren't ready to move yet because we still had a high schooler in our house. But once she went to college, we started renovating the condo on 10th and Dodge and moved in then a couple years ago. So
it helps to have garage parking.
yes, absolutely. And we had a 4-car garage down the street here, which is pretty rare. So to go into a common garage with only 2 spots was a little bit challenging.
So did you have to shed a lot of belongings?
Oh, yes, we did. Have you heard of the Facebook Marketplace?
Yeah.
Yeah, we sold about every other piece of furniture that we owned on that.
So how did the high schooler adjust when she came back home for Christmas break or Thanksgiving break?
Guess what?
To a condo, not the home she grew up in.
Well, that was – I mentioned that we moved right at the time of the pandemic. She was home for spring break at the time, and she's the only one that could help us move. And then while she was doing that, they said, don't come back to school.
Oh, wow.
So she ended up being stuck with us for the next 6 months, essentially.
So your condo got a little smaller.
Yeah, it wasn't really planned, but thankfully we did build her a bedroom, and so she did have some space there. But yeah, it wasn't intended to have kids living in it so much.
One thing we've talked about for the last 18 years on this show is when will the downtown area get a full-service grocery store, whether it's a Hy-Vee or something else?
Yeah.
And so where do you do your grocery shop? Do you go all the way to Council Bluffs, that Hy-Vee,
Yeah.
or do you go to Saddle Creek,
Yeah.
Bakers?
I tell you, people talk about that like we haven't found it to be this big barrier that that we would love to have a Hy-Vee a block away. That'd be great, but I work on 132nd and Dodge, so I literally work about 100 yards from a Hy-Vee, so I go there a lot. We do go into Council Bluffs. It's only about 5 minutes away. But my wife likes to go. We're still out at Trader Joe's, and we don't feel like we're trapped downtown. You can't get out to go somewhere to buy something, and so it hasn't proven to be a big deal.
One more question with Rick Bettger in the time we have left here, owner of Omaha Car Care, but also fairly recent downtown Omaha resident. Where do you see this going? I mean, there are a lot of projects downtown that are underway, but in recent years, they've mostly been rental units.
Right.
You have a condo. I'd like to see more ownership units downtown and people making a long-term commitment to the area. Where do you see it going?
I would too, Jeff, because it's where we live, the Ford building is to our immediate west, and that is a condo building also. So it is, and then the BB and Runyon building, which is not too far. 9th and Dodge is condos. There is a little hub where we live of condos, but it's not. There aren't really anywhere else other than Riverfront. There's no other condos being developed or talked about, and I think it's great to have projects like the Mercantile going in. It's great to have the Capital District apartments, but it would be nice if there were more permanent residents.
Less transiency.
Yeah.
People
long
set down
term.
roots.
Yeah. We live right across the street from the Capitol Place apartments that the Lopez's have built. And
beautiful.
They live in the building, but everything else is a rental. But and it's great to have the activity. It's great to have, but what you notice is some of the retail is still open in that building, in the Capitol District. Still a lot of open retail that's never been filled. That's disappointing, and I don't know what it'll take to get it filled, other than more density.
It sounds like the Capital District, though. We're told on good authority that Tejas de Brazil, at
Right.
Brazilian Steakhouse,
That is going in.
is going in the Capital District, and also some golf-oriented.
There's a sports bar going in.
Sports
called
bar,
Let
restaurant.
It Fly.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
Which-
out of Sioux Falls, South
That's
Dakota.
the same guys that
Yeah.
own that. Yeah.
golf-oriented.
It's not so much golf oriented as it's a sports bar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Guys, we got a break. But Rick, thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate you sharing these insights.
Sure thing. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Rick Bettger, Omaha Car Care, one of our sponsors on Grow Omaha, and 4 locations around the metro area. Going to take a quick break. When we come back, it's the lightning round. Going to squeeze in a lot of things really fast. You're listening to Jeff and Trenton on Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing and NAI NP Dodge on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
Hi, this is Eric.
Thank you. Appreciate it. That was good. Well, good. Yeah, we kind of got a little bit of an eclectic menu of things we covered, but I like it.
Yeah, I know.
I am a little bit fascinated by the high school kid because we have an 8th grader, and we're thinking about, depending on what the housing market's like, after she goes to college, getting rid of our current house because it's right across the street from a high school.
Yeah.
which is great.
Yeah.
Well, you have students going to school there, but it comes with a lot of noise and fast food
Trash.
wrappers blowing in your backyard and all that. So I think we're going to split. And I've always wondered, that'd be kind of interesting that when she comes home for a break from college, we'll be maybe in a different place.
Well, the funny thing is, when we bought that place, it only had the one enormous bedroom, but we immediately put in a second bedroom because we had renters in there, and they needed 2 bedrooms.
Yeah.
So we walled off and built this bedroom in there, and that's where she's ended up in there.
Yeah. Where does she go to school?
She goes to KU.
Oh, okay. So it's a little ways away where
Yeah.
she's probably not coming home every weekend.
No.
And all that, yeah.
No.
Insurance coverage.
But yeah, she's coming home.
Mutual customizes your car and home
She couldn't
insurance.
wait to get out. School doesn't start till a week from Monday. She left.
She's already gone.
I'm out of here.
Dirty.
It's been real, Mom and Dad.
You find yourself going to restaurants out west though too. Like
Very rarely. We never have.
you like to walk.
Yeah, we do. We walk the whole market all the time, and it's such an easy. I mean, short walk. It's 4
Use the
blocks.
bridge and the trails.
10th Street. Yeah. We've got bikes. We got e-bikes that we're using. In fact, we rode over the Culvers last time we did in Council Bluffs.
It's a pretty good drive.
Yeah. It's about
A little over
6
5
miles.
minutes.
5.
Yeah.
And welcome back to the show. And it is time for the lightning round. The lightning round is brought to you by Turner Construction. Turner Construction is really making a big impact on the Omaha built environment. And I happened to notice something pretty cool at one of Turner Construction's larger projects in the United States of America. It's the Sarpy County Data Center. And they had been working on stages or phases 5 and 6, and which really feels like phase 3 to me, because they started out on the northwest corner, then they went to the northeast corner, now they're on the southwest corner. Well, the southwest corner of the Sarpy County Data Center has gone vertical, steel everywhere. When you're southbound on Highway 50 and you see it, it just opens up. I can't imagine when all couple million square feet on that corner are ready to go. But Turner Construction doesn't do just massive landscape changing projects like the Sarpy County Data Center. They also build out retail spaces and build smaller buildings for companies like your company. And they do a darn good job of it. Turner Construction is very client-centric, and they care about their customers, and they care about their employees, which is probably one of the reasons why their projects tend to be so good and so appreciated by their clients. Turner Construction, sponsor of the Lightning Round. All right, let's get to it. Panera Bread near 72nd and Giles has moved from its previous location into a former Potbelly sub-sandwich location, presumably to take advantage of the drive-through.
And that Potbelly never really took off, but that drive-through is handy, yeah.
Yeah. Some of the other Potbelly stores in Omaha seem to do fine, but that one was always kind of quiet. Well, that's a Panera now. And then Valo, I don't know how you pronounce it. Let's call it Valo, Wellness Spa. Planning to open soon in the former Parso space at Regency Court. Have the signage up. Looks like it's coming along pretty nicely. Trenton Home Team Cookout, sports bar, restaurant, plans to open late this month in the former Ruby Tuesdays building at 3150 24th Avenue in Council Bluffs.
It'll give Hooters a run for their money.
Are they still there?
Oh, yeah, Hooters is there.
And
that's why I've seen the light on.
And Quaker Steak and Lube is over
Quaker
there.
Steak and Lube is over there. And they've got the casinos over there and the convention center. And so they've got stuff going on.
They do have casinos over there. Primo's Mexican Restaurant recently opened a second location near 60th and Center. We've talked about
coming.
Yep, we've talked about that. But now they have a deli grab-and-go counter where you can go in and get cold tamales that are ready to heat up, salsas, salads, desserts. So that's kind of cool.
We got to try that.
We do. Let's go over there for lunch sometime in the next week or two.
Great.
All right, interior build-out is underway on a new Skechers store. It's going in that former Pier 1 space at 74th and Dodge. So remember that Pier 1, they on the backside there's a Hertz rental car, but Pier 1 went out. It was kind of a very blatant, noticeable vacancy. That's going to be Skechers. That's a good,
interesting
good
location
choice.
for them.
Yeah. All right, Trenton, this is something you know pretty well. The developer of Regency Landing near 680 and Pacific has purchased the Ethan Allen building, but Ethan Allen, the furniture retailer, will stay for the time being.
Yeah, I put Ethan Allen corporate in there a number of years ago, and they've extended their lease. And the developer affiliated with Access Commercial, doing a great job for that. I think it's about a 11-acre site, and they wanted to have their front door, and so that they are the owner and landlord of the Ethan Allen building.
The Good Evans restaurant out of Kearney, Nebraska and Lincoln, Nebraska is opening an Omaha location. It will be in February, so we're getting close to it. It's at 1040 South 74th Plaza. As mentioned on the show a couple months ago, this is a former Pepper Jack's location. The reason we bring it up now is because we now know that they are opening in February. Looks like a good place, kind of like a place, kind of like maybe a breakfast and lunch sort of situation. There have been a lot of those that have come to the market in recent years. The brand also opens to open another location. I don't know where, but not in Omaha, like in a different market. So we'll keep an eye on that. Five Below, a specialty retailer out of Philadelphia that sells specialty items to younger shoppers at $5 or less, is opening a store in West Roads Mall. They already have 4 Omaha area locations.
L Street Marketplace is one of them.
Yeah, they're in Council Bluffs. I think they have one Northwest
They got
Omaha.
some cool stuff in there.
I've actually been there a couple times. You can pick up gifts for your young nieces and nephews, and only spend $5. Okay, so hopefully they're not listening because now they would know. Sunglass Hut plans to open soon at Village Point Shopping Center near 168th and West Dodge Road. And the doggone music is playing, which means the rest of the stuff on the list, including a new crumble cookie in addition to the one we've already talked about, waits till next week. I'm Jeff Beals.
And I'm Trenton Magid.
You've been listening to Grow Omaha, brought to you by D&M Roofing, NAI, NP Dodge, and Turner Construction. We will chat with you next week right here on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
18 years is in the can.
Boom! Minus 2 days, but close enough.
Way to go, boys.
If you like this video, be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons. And remember, Grow Omaha is not just media. This is a mission. We are trying to build up Omaha and make it an even better place. We can only do that with your help. Share this video with your friends, neighbors, and family.